Hello, good afternoon, everyone, all the way here from Tokyo, Japan. I am Stefan Diaz, the marketing director of the Miss International Organization or the International Cultural Association. And I am here right now because we have a very special guest for the eighth edition of MI Live. So I don't want to talk a lot, and then I'm just really excited to talk with this really young fellow here who is currently she's a first year nursing student at the Auckland University of Technology, and she is really very passionate with her advocacy, and we will be talking about that more in a short while. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our very special guest, Miss Sydney Faye Batters, the reigning Miss New Zealand 2020. Hello, Faye.
Hello, so nice to see you. Nice to meet you, and hello to everybody who's watching.
Hello, everyone. It's already 8 o'clock in the evening in New Zealand. So, good evening to all our Kiwi friends there.
Yes, it's a really good evening tonight in Auckland, actually. So, hopefully the light stays well for the live stream, so we can get on to all the questions and all the good stuff.
Looking really fresh, and love the crown on your head.
Thank you. It's heavy.
It is heavy. Oh, so
Yeah.
you have to put up with that one for the next 20 minutes or so. But not all the time you have a crown in your head. And once again, congratulations for being crowned as Miss New Zealand, and you'll be representing New Zealand in the 60th edition of Miss International next year. So how does it feel that you are now the Miss New Zealand?
Still surreal. I'm really proud of it. I'm so happy that I get to go over and represent New Zealand internationally, especially over in Japan. I love Japan. I love the culture, and I've never traveled anywhere except Australia. So I'm really excited that my first big international traveling experience will be to Tokyo, Japan. And I'm just, yeah, it's crazy. I'm just so thankful and happy that I got to win this title.
Sydney, actually, by the way, for the benefit of our viewers who don't know yet, Sydney is actually half Maori and half European. So, European in which part of Europe?
Scottish.
Scottish. Oh, but plenty of Scottish or Irish in New Zealand, I suppose.
Yes.
Love the curls, actually. Those are natural curls, right?
Yep. Just fresh out of the shower with some conditioner.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. I actually learned that you are um, studying nursing right now. You are on your first year because you want to become a mental health nurse, and there must be a deep reason for that one. Can you please share it to us?
Yeah. So, nursing was always, well, nursing is something that I really am really passionate about. But more so just wanting to help people. I've always wanted to be in a profession where I could help people, whether it was teaching or nursing or, a doctor, anything like that, that was going to benefit our people and give back to my people, especially. And so that was kind of the basis of it. But the reason I wanted to do mental health nursing is something a lot deeper that I resonate really deeply with. Our charity that we raised funds for Miss New Zealand, which was Brave, which was founded by Jessica Tyson, who was the Miss World 2018 winner. So it's just so amazing to see her work and knowing that I can put my own thoughts and do my own thing with it and just really connect with it. So that's amazing. And the reason why I chose to do mental health nursing was actually because I have my own personal experience with mental health, which I recently shared with Women's Day magazine over here in New Zealand. And when the article came out, it was crazy. It was so surreal. I couldn't believe it was my first time sharing that story with everyone. And on a national level, it was just insane. And I'm just really proud of it. And my story basically is around suicide and depression and sexual violence. And I am happy to say that I'm a survivor with many scars, but scars that I wear with pride, and they tell my story. And like it says in the article there, and I'm just so happy that I'm able to share that with people and hopefully help at least one person out there somewhere. So that's always been my main goal. So mental health nursing was definitely a go-to for me, and I can't wait to get into it and actually start doing it.
The title of the article is "My Scars Tell My Story." Some people would probably interpret that as physical scars, but these are actually more than just physical scars. These are also emotional scars, and the things that have actually really impacted your life when you were younger. And I know it's not easy to just share it on board and just share it publicly, but you have been impacting the lives of so many people, because I know that for every moment that you actually share your experience, you are actually probably saving one life. At a very young age, for sure you have matured because of the things that have you have experienced, but you also shared to me prior to this one that you have overcome this trauma because you surrounded yourself with a very supportive people, and you call it finding your village. And I find it really very interesting about finding that village that you were talking about. Can you please expound and share to us something about that?
Yes, I can. So there's a saying that goes, "It takes a child to raise." Oh, no, it doesn't. It takes a village to raise a child,
Yeah.
and that's not a literal term, but it means that when you have the right support groups, when you have the right people around you who are supporting you emotionally, mentally, and physically, all of those things, I consider those people my village. And so my village would be my parents, my siblings, my partner's family, and my friends that I'm really close with. And those people were the people who helped me get through my tough times, but also let me do it on my own at the same time, and remember that um, with all the help that they're giving me, there's still a portion of that that needs to come from me, and that I need to realize my own self-worth, because there's only so much that you can do for a person. And I think that that was really important for me to learn, because if I relied and became dependent on everybody else to make me feel good, I would never be happy, essentially. And so I think that it takes a village to raise a child is definitely one of my favorite sayings, and I take that with me everywhere I go.
Yeah, nowadays, it's kind of sad that we have been seeing society being so detached, family per family or individually, because we are so into social media, and even among the community, people would be talking less because of technology. And since we have television and we have Netflix, or not saying that it's bad, some kids don't have the opportunity to actually interact with other kids in the neighborhood. But how is it growing up for you, Sydney? How was your childhood? How was it growing up in your own community?
Um, in my community, I come from a very small town called Kyle, which is up in the far north. And if you blink while you're driving through it, you're going to miss the whole thing. That's everybody knows everybody, everybody's family. You love everyone, you support everyone. And so growing up for me, like I say, I come from a small town. Wasn't the wealthiest town, definitely not the wealthiest town in New Zealand. Um, and it was just so small and secluded that, like, you just honestly, everybody is your auntie, your uncle, your cousin. So it was real whānau based, it was real family based. And that was something that's really important to me, because family has always come first for me. Family has always been so important to me. And to know that I've got 70 uncles or so just up the road back if I need them, it's just a really amazing feeling. And so generally growing up for me in a tiny town with lots of people I know was great. I loved seeing people all the time and loved interacting with people, but obviously because of the trauma and the abuse and all that kind of stuff, I was also a very quiet young person. I was a very quiet child. I hid away in classrooms when I went to school, if I went to school, because I was just so shy, and I was also getting bullied. So because I was shy and I was quiet, I was the weird girl who sat in the corner and or at the back of the class. So um, it was good as a whole and as a family based approach, but personally it was quite tough, and growing up from such a young age of being abused, or just going through my own traumas and dealing with depression, it made it quite tough. But like I say, I had the support people around me who kept me going, and that's something that, like I say, is really important to me.
And thanks to those people who have actually supported you, and also to probably your innate nature, which is really a very strong woman. Maybe you have it in you. You have it in your heart. We actually have you as Miss New Zealand, and what made you join pageantry? Probably without those scars that we spoke about a while ago. Probably you wouldn't have reached this stage in your life wherein you're wearing a crown, and then you are representing a nation, and you're representing not just the women of your country, but you're representing the entire New Zealand country. So now, what I want to know, why did you try to venture and join beauty pageant and eventually winning the title of Miss New Zealand?
I've said this to so many people, and I will say it again. I owe this all to my mum. So she got me into pageants. I personally, when I was 16, I joined my first pageant, which was Miss Far North, which is where I'm from. I'm from the far north of New Zealand, which is right at the top. And I joined Miss Far North, and when I was 16, again, I was in quite a dark space. But I don't know what it was, but I just wasn't into, and I wasn't into that kind of stuff. And my mum just always told me that I was beautiful inside and out, and she believed that I could go really far. And so one day, I didn't know, and she took me to a hall, and I was like, where are we, what are we doing, what's this? I thought we were going grocery shopping. And she pulled out a pair of heels, and she said, go inside, you're going to participate in this pageant. And I was like, this is not my thing. Not keen. I am shy. I am anxious. My anxiety was so high. My scars, my self-harm scars, were actually still fresh, so it made me feel even more insecure about it. And so I went in, and I actually started enjoying myself after the first few weeks of rehearsals. And I was like, hey, you know what? It's really nice to talk to different people that aren't either my teachers or the same two friends that I've talked to for years. And that there are actually other real people in the world. And not just the four people that I've stuck to. And so I competed in that pageant, and I came second overall, and I got the People's Choice Award. And the People's Choice Award personally is something that's more important to me than any place. And I think that I thank my family for that, and owe my family for that, because they were the ones that went hard. They voted in the newspapers, they sent in their votes, they did it all online. And it was knowing that I won the People's Choice Award meant that I had the biggest army behind me, no matter what. I'm last. And I still had people behind me that were supporting me. And everything relates back to family. It relates back to love and support. So again, that was so important to me. And so doing that pageant, I regained my confidence, but I was still in that dark space, and I was still going through a lot of depression, and dealing with my trauma still. And then at the start of this year, I was asked if I would like to compete in Miss New Zealand, and my answer was no. And I did not I did not want another pageant, but got pushed into it a little bit and was like, oh, you do really well. And I was like, oh, I beg to differ. I did not want to do that. I want to focus on my study. And they were like, no, you should do it. You should do it. You should do it. So I showed up to the rehearsals, and I loved it. I loved every second of the rehearsals. I loved the pageant. I loved the girls. The girls are some of my closest friends and always will be. And that's something that I love about pageants, because I'm still really good mates with everybody that I did Miss Far North with. And it's just to be wearing this crown on my head, to be Miss New Zealand, to be representing my nation, my country, and the women of my country is just so surreal to me. I never thought that this would happen. So, yeah, it's really crazy. And I'm taking it all back to the start. I owe my mum for this crown. This crown is half hers too.
Thanks, Mom, for bringing Sydney into the pageant world. We like imagine your list of friends or your battalion of friends would expand or would increase exponentially once you meet 80 other women from all over the world becoming your sisters from when you join the Miss International Beauty Pageant. It seems like you're gonna have one sister in almost every corner of the world when you plan to travel in the future.
That's just, I'm so excited. I've never, the pageant that I did this year for Miss New Zealand only had 8 contestants. So timesing that by 10 is a lot. But I am so excited to meet every single one of them. I've actually been watching the other 7 interviews that you've done. And
Uh-huh.
I love all of them because all of them are so diverse. And I love diversity. So I love seeing all the other girls. And I am going to continue to watch everybody's interviews that you do. If I make it to 80 is the real question. But I am just so excited to meet new people from all around the world with all different perspectives, with different, careers and goals and mindsets. So I'm really excited, and I can't wait to share my culture among 79 others. So that's insane to
Yeah.
me.
It's quite an opportunity actually to share your culture, to share yourself, and to also learn in return from the new friends or pageant sisters that you're gonna meet in the international pageants. And that is actually one of the things that we are so proud of at the Miss International system, because we make sure that everyone gets along very well. It's less competition, but more on friendship and getting to know each other. So that's one thing that you should probably be looking forward to more in the more and more when we interview more of the upcoming delegates in the 60th edition of Miss International.
Yes, I am so excited to learn so much from every single one of them, and it's great. And I am just so proud that I was actually chosen to represent my country. That's so crazy to me. I'm just, of all people in this team of 5 million, as our prime minister would say, um, I'm 1 in 5 million who is going to get to have the opportunity to go overseas to represent our country, to meet new people, to try new things, and just explore not only the culture over in Japan, but like I said, the 79 others
Mm.
that I'm going to meet and just get to know. And I can't wait to make more friends, because Miss New Zealand is quite the same. We're all sisters before we are competitors in a pageant. So it's so nice to know that I'm going to be able to have more of those and get to meet more people, not just from New Zealand, but all over the world. So that's
I
insane.
know, yeah. Hopefully this pandemic will be over by then, and even if there's still we still have the virus, it might be it might take longer, but somehow we'll be able to manage and find a solution or a way to navigate this whole situation and get a vaccine eventually. But that's one thing that we just hope and pray that we will have very soon. But speaking of pandemic, there's this one interesting question here from Aris Espino, saying that I have a question for you, Miss New Zealand. During this pandemic, what lesson did you learn and how you apply it to your reign?
That's a really good question. Thank you. What lesson did I learn? I learned that one thing that I learned in particular, because I was studying while I was also doing this pageant. So the lesson that I learned is sometimes not everything works out, and sometimes you might get a poor grade on a paper. Sometimes the dress that you wanted to wear for the pageant may not arrive on time, or the pageant just gets pushed back like it did in our case. So that's something that I definitely took on. During lockdown, I still had to study. I still had to do my assignments, and it was really hard to do without being there, because I'm one of those people that is quite hands-on. I need to be in the room, I need to be in the lecture theatres to learn. Watching a screen for 2 hours of someone talking was just, it just did not work. I had them quite sped up, and so like I said, sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes you're not as happy with the outcome, and I took that on board with me for my pageant, because I realized that sometimes, you know, it was more than just the dress not showing up, the shoes not fitting. It was also, you know, sometimes my mental state or my emotional state wasn't where it should have been, and sometimes I just couldn't make it. I couldn't put my all into some of the rehearsals, and so sometimes things don't work out. But I always believe that there's a positive outcome for everything, and the positive outcome for me was definitely the crown sitting on my head, and so that's definitely something that I took on board with me during lockdown.
And you are going to carry that with you until you pass it on to your successor. And we are very proud to have you as our Miss New Zealand or Miss International New Zealand 2020. And you'll be coming to our pageant, and we really can't wait to meet all of the ladies who will be crowned in the next few weeks, next few months. We will have Miss Vietnam a couple of weeks from now. So really, it's very exciting to have you and to know you better. Actually, we still have so many things that we would like to talk with you, but we have plenty of time. We don't know. Maybe we're gonna have some group talks eventually in the future, as soon as we have more and more delegates who will be decided in the next few months. And but we would like to, as much as we would like to talk to you more, Sydney. I really appreciate the time that you have given to us, and for you to open up about your advocacy, about your mental health, about the mental health issue, about the depression, suicides, and these are really very sensitive issue. But for a 19-year-old woman, a young woman like you, to be able to cope up with that and to be able to overcome it because of your family, it's really a very wonderful lesson. And I hope that many people will be hearing and will be inspired by this story, in the same way that you have already inspired so many young people in New Zealand through that magazine article that we just shared a while ago. So thank you so much, Sydney. Thank you to the New Zealand organization for having you. And please, guys, don't forget to subscribe to all of our social media accounts that is being flashed down here. And also, please follow Sydney Batters in her Instagram account. Just check Sydney Batters. I think she's the only one so far. Very interesting name. And well, I forgot to ask you about the history of your name, but we'll talk about it maybe in the future, and or maybe when you come here to Japan. So thank you once again. Thank you, Aris. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Fizon Fernandez, for your shout out, for your messages. And to Pat Path, thank you. And see you next time in our next episode of Am I Live. Thank you very much, and bye.